Hey folks, Stacy here, Homestead on the Hill, and we're just walking up from the lower property up to the homestead. And some people are asking me saying, hey, can I have a little tour of the property? And other people said like, hey, hold on, you said you don't have electricity. What happened is that in the fire of 2014, the lower property where my grandparents had a small cabin, it burned, but only about half of it burned. The upper property where our family home was, that everything up there burned. So what I've done is I've retreated, so to speak, and I've been working out of the lower cabin. And so I used the lower cabin. I rebuilt it, fixed up the room for the kids' room, and I fixed up the kitchen, and I put a corrugated metal roof on it. And so what we want to do, though, to honor my family and my parents who put a lot of work into this, I'm going to rebuild up here where our family home was. And so let's go take a tour. I'll just pop the gate open. So here we are at the sort of at the top end of the driveway. And if you look up top here, you can see that's where the power line comes to. But there's you can see those wires that are just hanging down. That's the it used to run over to the house. And of course, when the house burned up, hydro came up and disconnected the breaker up top there, so that there's no power. So now I have power up to there, but then the next step is to get a electrical panel put into the this container, this runway, this yellowish one, white one. Get an electrical panel put into there, so then I have a stepping off point for the reconstruction. So, but anyway, so this is where the top of the driveway. So we would drive up here, and then we would either park over there or park over here on this side here. So this is how I orient myself now, or figure out where things were, because this little tree right here, you can see this little pile of metal. That's my sort of my shrine. It's all the memory pieces from after the fire. But anyway, this little tree here is a mountain ash, and that was at the front corner of where the house was, and the house sat right up in here. And as you can see, well, there's snow there now, but there's clearly no house. So this was the house that burned up, and this is where the house sat. And the living room was on like about here, and so a big picture window out here, and then you can't see it now because we're all fogged in, but there's a mountain on the other side there. The sun would come up over there and then move across the sky like that. And it was really, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful setting. And so in order to honor my parents, I want to rebuild so that we have something like this again on this spot. Over here, so you can see that stump, and in that area over there was the workshop, and underneath the workshop was a root cellar. We built it. It was made of cinder blocks, and we stored our preserves and potatoes and root crops, and we stored them all in the root cellar. Anyway, so what happened is that after the fire, there was a lot of debris and a lot of wreckage, and so we had I had my buddy with his skid steer and another guy with a little excavator. We came and we just pushed it all into the root cellar, and just broken glass and just piles of garbage, really. And so we pushed it into there, and then put gravel over top of it, just to be done with it. And in the summer, when this greens up quite nicely. So here we are. So, hey, I'm going to just walk over here by this oak tree. We'll walk over there, and we'll have another look at this place from down below. Anyway, talking about the history, this is a little oak tree, and my grandfather planted that back, oh boy, I don't know, 1978, 79, somewhere in there. And slow growing tree, but it burned up pretty badly in the fire, but it survived. And so I'm doing everything I can to honor that tree. And this year I collected a bunch of the acorns from it, and I'm going to start new trees and try to get more babies from this one here to plant on the property. So looking around here, different point of view of what we did here. This was these are the remains of the orchard, and so we had apple trees and plum trees and pear trees, and they all they got burned up pretty badly, and so I don't have much of an orchard left now. So, but it is what it is. Most of these have grown back from their rootstock, and so most of them have reverted, because when they get fruit trees, frequently they graft them onto plum tree rootstocks, and so some of these have regrown, and they're actually regrowing as plum trees, not as apple trees. Anyway, so this was what we called the orchard. We got enough fruit to keep our family fed for the summer and the winter. And down below it, you can see this little opening down here. That was the garden, and we had a market garden, and our primary crop were tomatoes. We would take tomatoes to market, so we would grow approximately 2,000 pounds of tomatoes per year. We had tomatoes down there, green beans, a lot of green beans, and then right where we're standing was the potato patch, and so those were our three primary crops: tomatoes, green beans, and we always grew bush beans, not climbing beans. And so I spent many a summer day hunched over picking green beans. But those were our crops. It's kind of that's the homestead. And again, if you look down there where the containers are, and that was where our house was. And so yeah, and then of course, like I said, the workshop was up here with the root cellar underneath it. That's kind of what the property looked like back in the day. This was what us kids called the hill, and up on the hill is our water supply. So we have a spring, I don't know, about half a mile up the mountain, and so we would bring water. We would have a pipe to bring water down the hill. But in the winter, us kids would set that up as a toboggan run, and that was always good fun. Always good fun. Yeah. Anyway, that's enough for this week for Homestead on the Hill. As usual, subscribe. Everybody asks you to subscribe. There's no harm in subscribing. It doesn't cost you anything. You get it for free these days. So just hit the subscribe, and if you can give me a like, if you like it, feel free to give it a like. That's it for this week. We'll talk again soon. I'm just going to go see where that bird is. I think it's a woodpecker.